Hey guys, Indy here with Ultimate Tool Reviews. Well, today I'm going to be talking about Ryobi tools, and I'm sure you've probably seen Ryobi tools in Home Depot, elsewhere, pawn shops, eBay. Ryobi tools is just everywhere. Just a brief history of Ryobi tools. Ryobi tools is actually a Japanese company. Now, Ryobi tools in the USA is actually just licensed by TTI. If you know TTI, they actually make the tools licensed for Rigid. They also actually own Milwaukee, and they actually license the tools from Ryobi. They're basically just that name to use Ryobi, and they make all the Ryobi tools here in the US. So they're pretty much sold exclusively in Home Depot. That's the only retailer you can buy them brand new from. But if you didn't know, you can actually buy the tools relatively cheap as kind of like a blemished, open box kind of thing from directtools.com. That's actually TTI's basically outlet there for any of their blemished tools. That's actually where I got this vacuum from. I think I only paid it was like $25. It was really cheap from Direct Tools. I also got the rotary tool with it for an extra $10. And it was pretty much worth it alone for the rotary tool because it came with a whole kit of a bunch of attachments and little bits as well. So there were some fantastic Ryobi tools. It's kind of hard to go through all the Ryobi tools because there are just so many. If you know, Ryobi tools came out with a bug zapper that runs off the OnePlus platform as well too. There's pretty much too many tools for Ryobi to go into. Now I will say one tool that I personally avoid from Ryobi tools, and it's pretty universal to, a lot of guys say to avoid it, is any of their bit sets have known to be pretty low quality. I had one, I broke it pretty fast, a number of the bits broke easily. Now I did do a review on Ryobi's new diamond bits, and they are pretty cool, but they're pretty expensive for what you get, and they're not all diamond bits in that package. Only a certain few bits in that package are actually diamond bits. So, something I'd kind of, say stray away from would be their bits. Now, I wish they would kind of make some more, hand tools. They got lots of other options they could make. They do have that Ryobi, kind of their pack-out style system they came out with. I don't know how well that's doing. I don't really see it at Home Depot too much anymore. And they've got all the the things for the garage walls. Those are just kind of lining the clearance section now. I kind of felt like if they kind of came with a lower price on those, we'd see a lot more of those going out. But I don't know what's going on there exactly. It kind of seems like maybe something Ryobi kind of put out there, and maybe have failed, and then maybe they're pulling back on it. So it'd be kind of weird to see that going on. But when it comes to things like outdoor power tools, Ryobi is definitely leading the push there, and they got just tons of power tools at Home Depot to choose from. And the cool thing is, you can always find a great deal. They're always doing the Ryobi Days thing. Happens a couple times a year where you can buy like $100 or $200 battery kit, and they pick out a free tool. A lot of those tools are even worth more than the actual battery kit itself. So there's a fantastic time there. Where say if you need like a brad nailer, Ryobi makes some excellent brad nailers. They have that airstrike technology. They've gotten some amazing reviews. I know AVE did a teardown, and overall it looked really, really good inside. Definitely way more than the price point that it was positioned at. It's really cool to see that from Ryobi, doing some really cool stuff. And you might not need a brad nailer all the time, but if you want to pick up a decent one for a good price, the Ryobi one is definitely a way to go. And Ryobi's got plug-in stuff like miter saws. They've got tile saws. They've got tons of stuff that if you just need one in a pinch, it's a great tool to pick up here and there. And Ryobi Tools is known for having an excellent value, and also having a battery platform that has yet to be changed. So that's one of their biggest selling points with Ryobi Tools, is that they kind of promise to keep the battery platform on their OnePlus series basically for forever, is kind of what they've claimed to do. Now, of course, this is, brings back the days of the 90s tools with the stick packs like that. Milwaukee had that, DeWalt had that. Very common. However, though, it still works pretty well today. And, the majority of their tools on the OnePlus system are overall really good tools. So, lots of pros and cons when it comes to Ryobi. And, it's not necessarily a tool brand that I would buy into a lot myself. So really what people look for in Ryobi tools is, of course, a really good value for those tools. Now, that's not Ryobi's only strength. I would say Ryobi does an excellent job of continually pushing out new tools. For example, I would like to buy one of those powered caulk guns. You don't need to do it by hand all the time. And, I could spend the money on the Makita, the Milwaukee, or the DeWalt one, but I don't want to spend $200 plus on that tool, something I might use maybe 3 or 4 times a year. So that's where Ryobi steps in, is that I can buy the Ryobi version for quite a bit less for something that I'm not gonna necessarily use a ton. Now, Ryobi's kind of hitting that gap a lot where, Harbor Freight used to hit when it comes to those tools you might not need very much, but you definitely need that tool. And that's another whole story with Harbor Freight kind of moving up market, raising their pricing, a lot of things, whereas Ryobi is staying in that kind of value segment there really well. Now, I don't want to get too much into, Ryobi, the quality. Ryobi's always had a very kind of mixed quality. You're going to find some people who are just going to say that Ryobi is awesome tools, and you get some people who are just going to bash Ryobi all the time. I've also had a kind of rather mixed experience with Ryobi tools. I only have one more tool that's not pictured here, and that is my 18-volt edger. And just like what I was talking about with the caulk gun, is that my edger, I don't really need to use an edger that much. I think I maybe use it 5 or 6 times a year to kind of edge my lawn up, and then overall use a string trimmer just touch-ups. Now, it's a perfect tool that I don't use very much. However, though, I did have it fail on me once. It started smoking. That's a pretty common Ryobi thing that a lot of people see. That's because they use mainly the brushed motors that can fail, and that's what causes that smoke. Now, brush motors aren't necessarily inferior per se, but that is a common failure point using cheaper brush motors on a lot of Ryobi tools. And of course, there's going to be some, give and take when you get to that lower price point. Now, overall, the rest of the tools I have here have been absolutely rock solid. If you check out my video I did a while ago on the Ryobi 12 volt, I think those tools are actually pretty cool. I wish I'd kind of bring that back. Rather interesting design on those tools, as well as an amazing value on those tools as well too. But of course, they've got the smaller chainsaws. I've got a rotary tool here with a nice little compartment as well too. And something like an oscillating tool. It's not a tool that I use a lot, but you know what? I think it was like $27. I got it on clearance. Fantastic deal. And just a tool I can use once in a while. Don't necessarily need an awesome one, but it's a great deal. Now, I do have this vacuum back here, and this is actually a pretty cool tool. I didn't really do a full review on this tool. I just kind of comparisons versus Hart. But this is actually part of their EverCharge series. So it uses just a regular Ryobi battery that clips on the bottom here. But when you put it up on its charging base, like on the wall, it'll actually charge the battery for you and keep it basically charged as long as it's on that wall for you. So really cool to always have a vacuum like this that always stays charged. You don't need to take that battery out, slap in the charger. Oh, that I forgot to charge that battery. It's always charged when it's always put away. So a really cool thing to have there with that Ryobi innovation there that you don't really see a lot with other brands. They're kind of forward thinking when it comes to a lot of like homeowner, maybe just convenience features like that are really cool to see. Now let's talk Ryobi outdoor power tools. That's where they're really well known, really well, if you go to Home Depot and you walk down the outdoor power tool section, Home Depot is near me. It's pretty much like 60-70% of the aisle is now Ryobi, and then that remaining 30-40% is going to be Milwaukee, Makita, and DeWalt. There's not a lot of room anymore for those big three. It's all Ryobi now. And Ryobi actually has this new 40-volt line they have out now. And so with the new Ryobi 40-volt line, they're pushing out some more powerful outdoor power tools. We've got, backpack blowers. We've got lawnmowers. I think Ryobi actually has more lawnmowers out now than Milwaukee, Makita, and DeWalt combined. So they have a lot of options out there. They pretty much hit kind of all the low price points. They even go into some of the mid-range stuff as well too. So yeah, I just needed a small chainsaw. I was cutting off some roots here and there, and I think this thing was like 40 or 50 bucks. It was really cheap. I already had some batteries for it, and it worked really well for what I needed to do. And I didn't really want to, dig into the dirt with a nicer chainsaw, but this thing did a fantastic job, and it still works great today. So definitely some very cool things you can do with Ryobi tools when you kind of, just need a tool for a one-off occasion. It's good to go. Now let's talk about that Ryobi 40-volt line they have. So of course that brings in some more powerful outdoor power tools. I actually had the 40-volt pole saw. Overall, I was really happy with it. I think I got it for like $35. It was on a clearance at Home Depot, and they had one left, and I think it was marked down from like $199. Man, I just wanted it gone as fast as possible. That thing was really impressive because I could go hours trimming my trees and only burn like 1 or 2 bars on that battery. It did a fantastic job. I will say the only weakness with that pole saw was it started to basically bow over time. Just that pole was so long. I don't think it was built that well, but overall it started, just bowing over really bad, and I'm just kind of selling it, and I bought a nicer one. Now, I'm saying that's not a tool that's not going to be fine for what you're doing with it. If you're just need a pole saw once in a while, overall, it's not a terrible option. And of course, it's relatively cheap too. And that 40-volt battery, I think at like a 4 amp hour, will last you a really long time in between charges as well too. But when it comes to Ryobi tools, of course, one thing that everyone's caring about their tools is going to be reliability and that build quality of tools. Now, Ryobi is, like I said before, rather mixed. If you watch plenty of reviews on Ryobi tools, you're going to see some guys that just love them, like Man Caver Tools. I love that YouTuber. He's a really cool YouTuber, as well as like Workshop Addict, who are going to be kind of in the kind of, different boats here, where you're going to see a lot of really positive reviews on Ryobi at Man Caver Tools. And then Workshop Addict actually did a couple of reviews on the new One Plus Ryobi tools, and he had them pretty much all starting to smoke on his first job. Now, of course, you're going to see different mixed results with different tools, but overall, Ryobi, I don't necessarily recommend it if you're a pro trades person. You want to spend more money on tools that are really going to last and really work well. I'm not saying don't buy Ryobi tools, but just kind of be careful what you buy from Ryobi tools. And if you have a tool that you're going to use every single day, you're going to use it hard on the job. I'm not going to say don't buy Ryobi tools, but you might want to look into a more durable brand. Now, I will say the one cool thing about Ryobi is that their warranty process is excellent. So last time I checked, pretty much any Home Depot is basically a Ryobi service center kind of thing. So when I had my edger guy started giving that smoke on me, I just took it back to Home Depot. They said grab a new one off the shelf and you're good to go. So I was in and out within a couple of minutes. It was overall a really nice experience. And I don't think they even worry about repairing the tools too much anymore. And I think it just kind of give you a replacement and you're on your way. So I haven't really had any, just terrible experiences with Ryobi, but I am cautious with the tools that I buy from Ryobi. And that's something to just be concerned about, well, careful what you buy here and there. And of course, when you have the batteries that never change, that's really cool. I'm not gonna get into the battery platform too much. I heard some stuff about, going with the newer batteries and the way older tools that are 20 years old, you might fry those out. Haven't had the chance to test that or confirm that myself, but I have heard a lot of those stories. But I will say, I am definitely a big fan of these slide packs. If you saw my Milwaukee video, I'm not a fan of the M12 line with any of the stick packs like that. I love the slide packs. And so when you have some Ryobi tools, like say this multi-tool or say like the ratchet, you're gonna of course have this battery pack is gonna be sticking out somewhere. It can't just slide out of the tool, as well as you have basically two areas that are always gonna be somewhat long on that tool. Basically the stick pack here, as well as that battery is gonna be long this way. So Ryobi is not gonna necessarily give you the most compact tools out there, but they're really sticking with that one battery pack, and that's a really cool way to go. That no matter what tools you buy today, tomorrow, 10 years ago, you can always have a battery pack that'll function on that. Now, we're not necessarily too many tool brands are changing battery platforms too fast anymore. For the most part, Milwaukee, DeWalt, Makita, even Cobalt, a number of other brands, they've all kind of stayed stationary on their current battery packs so far. You've got some brands like Makita with their new XGT line that is pushing into 40-volt stuff. It's a separate line of tools now. It's not saying like, oh, your LXT stuff is now useless. But it's something to watch with Ryobi is that you can pretty much never have to worry about, I gotta buy a whole new battery line here. I gotta change out all my tools. Ryobi is gonna stick with that battery platform for as long as we can tell, forever here at this point. And that'd be really cool to see as they keep evolving that line. Now, before I conclude the video, I want to mention also Hart as well too. I don't really have any Hart tools anymore, and they sent some for a review for me. But Hart Tools is also owned by TTI for Walmart. They're making those tools for. And I can't confirm this, but from what I can tell from observation, it looks like that all the tools are super similar to Ryobi's. I'm not gonna say they're exact, just copy paste tools into the Hart line, but it seems really cool that that's kind of what Ryobi would be if they changed over to slide packs. And all the tools are super similar, but it's a pretty cool line. I would probably say between the two, I do like the Hart slide packs definitely more than I like these. But when it comes to Ryobi tools, there's a lot more tools in the line, and pretty much whenever I check my email, there's some Ryobi email in there. It's, hey, we got 5 new tools coming out. So there is always new stuff in Ryobi, especially for tools that you're not going to need that much, like like powered caulking gun. Really cool to buy the Ryobi version of it. Use it a couple times a year, and you'll save yourself quite a good chunk of change there. So always something to see, always something positive with every tool brand, of course. There's always be positive and negative with every brand. But guys, if you use Ryobi tools, let me know what your experiences are so far. I've heard tons of mixed stuff. Some guys love them, some guys hate them. But there's always that, positives to every brand. That's kind of why I have some tools in every brand. There's always something, there that makes the tool brand well worth it. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and take care, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.